You deserve it. 3 words that have cost the average millennial more than they will ever calculate. Not because treating yourself is wrong, but because somewhere in the last decade, treating yourself got industrialized. It became a reflex, a cultural default, a financial decision disguised as an act of self-compassion. And the numbers are brutal. The average American spends $1,497 per month on non-essential purchases. Not total spending, non-essential. That is $17,964 per year. Over a working career, if that money had been invested at a 7% average return instead, it would be worth $2.1 million. Not hypothetically. Not with perfect execution. Just redirected, consistently, over time. I'm not here to tell you to stop enjoying your life. That is not what this channel is about, and it is not a sustainable financial strategy anyway. But I am here to tell you that treat yourself has become a cognitive trap. A culturally sanctioned phrase that bypasses your judgment, removes the need for justification, and keeps a specific class of people, specifically, the ones who most need to build wealth, spending money in ways that systematically prevent that from happening. Today we are breaking down the psychology, the marketing machine behind it, the specific cognitive shortcuts it exploits, and the reframe that lets you actually enjoy your life while building wealth at the same time. If you're new here, subscribe now. We cover the behavioral science of money every week, and the framework we're about to walk through is one that most people only encounter after they've already made years of expensive mistakes. How treat yourself became a financial strategy for someone else. Let's start with the origin. Treat yourself, as a cultural phenomenon, accelerated in the early 2010s. Parks and Recreation made it iconic in 2011. But what started as a comedic bit became, within a few years, a genuine marketing phrase that consumer goods companies discovered was extraordinarily effective. Here's why it works at a marketing level. You deserve it is a permission phrase. It pre-clears the purchase before you've had a chance to evaluate it. It substitutes an identity statement, you are someone who deserves good things, for a financial analysis. And critically, it frames not purchasing as self-denial, as punishment, as something only anxious, joyless people do. Consumer sentiment research by Nielsen in 2018 found that self-reward language in advertising increased purchase intent by 28% compared to ads without it. The phrase is not just a cultural moment. It's a tested, optimized, highly effective purchase trigger. The 3 cognitive shortcuts it exploits. Shortcut 1. Moral licensing. Moral licensing is the documented psychological phenomenon where doing something virtuous gives you mental permission to do something indulgent immediately afterward. You ate a salad for lunch, so you deserve the dessert. You worked hard this week, so you deserve the splurge. A landmark 2009 study by Sachdeva, Iliev, and Maydeen published in Psychological Science found that people who were primed to think of themselves as virtuous made significantly more indulgent subsequent choices. Treat yourself is moral licensing in linguistic form. Shortcut 2. Entitlement framing. You deserve it is an entitlement statement. And entitlement framing shuts down cost-benefit analysis by substituting a rights claim. When something is framed as something you're entitled to, evaluating whether to do it feels like questioning your own worth. The entitlement frame is particularly powerful for people who already feel financially behind. Because if you feel like you've already sacrificed, already been responsible, the entitlement frame says, haven't you already given up enough? Shortcut 3. Present bias reinforcement. Treat yourself is entirely present tense language. There is no future dimension to the phrase. Future you is not in the room when treat yourself is invoked. Research by behavioral economist David Laibson at Harvard shows that present bias explains a significant portion of undersaving behavior. Treat yourself is present bias in 3 words. It's a phrase designed to anchor you in the now and make the future feel like someone else's problem. The compound cost you're not calculating. $150 per month in non-essential spending. Over 30 years, that's $54,000 in nominal terms. But invested at a 7% annual return, that's $181,756. Not because of the amount, because of the time. That's the compound growth tax you're paying on each treat yourself moment. Now multiply that by frequency. 4 treat yourself decisions per month at an average of $37.50. Same math. Nearly $200,000 over a working career sitting on the other side of a phrase you didn't even consciously agree to. Intentional reward versus reflexive consumption. Intentional reward. You decide in advance that achieving a specific goal earns a specific reward. The reward is earned, specific, sized appropriately, and consciously planned. Research on goal reward systems shows this kind of structured reward actually increases goal completion and doesn't damage financial behavior. Reflexive consumption. You feel a vague sense of stress or entitlement and you spend. No specific trigger. No proportionate reward. No conscious decision. Just the reflex, the phrase, the purchase. This is the version that compounds silently into financial stagnation. The question isn't whether you should spend on yourself. The question is, are you spending intentionally, Or are you spending reflexively using a culturally provided excuse? Building the intentional reward system. Component 1, the reward budget. Decide in advance what you're allocating to intentional rewards each month. Pre-committed, deliberate, guilt-free. For most people, $100 to $200 per month functions as a genuine reward budget without derailing serious wealth-building goals. Component 2, the reward menu. Before you have a stressful week or an entitlement moment, build a list of things that genuinely feel rewarding to you specifically. The menu exists so that when the reflex fires, you have intentional options available instead of defaulting to the nearest frictionless purchase. Component 3, the trigger audit. For 30 days before any unplanned purchase over $20, ask, what is this responding to? Pattern recognition precedes behavioral change. You cannot interrupt a reflex you cannot see. Component 4, the future self-anchor. Find and save a photo of someone 20 to 30 years older who embodies the financial life you want. Hal Hershfield's research at UCLA found that people who regularly visualized their future self saved measurably more money than control groups. Because future you stops being abstract. If this framework makes sense and you want more like this, subscribe and share this video. The reframe you actually need. The reason treat yourself is so seductive is that it's addressing a real need. People who use this phrase most often are usually people who feel they've been responsible, who feel behind, who feel that their financial life requires constant sacrifice, and who are exhausted by the endless deferral of pleasure. If that's you, that's a real problem. And the answer isn't to just be tougher about saying no. The answer is to build a financial life where reward is integrated, not stolen. Where intentional pleasure isn't a defection from your goals but part of how you execute them. Build the system. Put the reward in it. And stop letting a marketing phrase make the decisions for you. See you in the next one.